A dialogue between two people, Liam and Chloe, discussing prayer, using Matthew 6, 9 to 13 as a guide.
I've been trying to get into a better habit of praying, but sometimes I feel like I'm just repeating words. It doesn't feel real.
I totally get that feeling, Liam. It can feel like you're just going through the motions. I found it really helpful to focus on the model prayer Jesus gave us in Matthew 6, the Our Father prayer. It's not about just reciting it, but really understanding what each part means.
Oh, you mean like the part where it starts, Our Father in heaven? I guess I've always just said it without really thinking about what it means.
Exactly. It's more than just a title. When we say Our Father, it acknowledges God as both intimately close to us and in heaven, supremely powerful and holy. It's like He is both someone we can run to like a loving parent and the King of the universe all at once. That sets the tone, doesn't it?
It does, actually. It makes it feel less like addressing someone far away and more like having a relationship. So, what's next in that prayer?
Then comes Hallowed be your name. It's about recognizing and revering God's holiness, His pure and perfect nature. It's a reminder that prayer isn't just about our needs, but about acknowledging who God is. Sometimes when I pray, I spend a moment just thinking of all the good things about God before I even ask Him for anything. It really shifts my perspective.
That makes sense. It's easy to get wrapped up in my own stuff, isn't it? Then it's, Your kingdom come, your will be done. Right? I've often wondered what that truly means in my everyday life.
I've wrestled with that too. It's about actively seeking God's will and letting His plans for us take priority, even when it's hard. I've learned to ask, God, what do you want for my life? And try to be open to those answers, which sometimes come as a nudging or even in circumstances. It's not a passive thing. It calls for engagement.
So, it's not just hoping for things to get better, but actually playing a part in God's plan. Okay, that's giving me a lot to think about. What about the bit about, give us this day our daily bread? I guess that's about dependence.
Exactly. It's a beautiful expression of humility and trust, that we rely on God for our daily needs, not just material, but spiritual and emotional sustenance as well. It keeps us from becoming arrogant and teaches us to always thank God for even the simple things. It's about living day to day in His care.
So, it's not just about asking for things we want, but things we genuinely need. I can see the wisdom in that. Then it goes on to forgiveness. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. That's always a tricky one for me.
Me too, honestly. It's a powerful connection, though. We can't really expect God to forgive us if we're holding on to resentment or bitterness towards others. It forces us to confront our own imperfections. Forgiving others becomes an essential part of our spiritual journey. I've even started praying for those who have hurt me, which I never thought I'd do.
I can imagine how challenging that would be, but also how liberating. So finally, the prayer concludes with lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. How do you understand that part?
That part is about acknowledging our vulnerability. We're not immune to temptation and need God's guidance to avoid things that pull us away from Him. Deliver us from evil recognizes the spiritual battles we face and asks God to protect us from the forces that try to corrupt us. It's like asking for His strength and wisdom to make good choices. I think it's a good reminder that we shouldn't walk through life alone. We need the hand of God to see us through.
Wow, you've really broken it down in a way that makes so much more sense. It's not just a set of words, it's a real guide for how to approach God, how to look at my life. I think I have a better idea of how to make my prayer time more meaningful.
I'm so glad, Liam. The Lord's Prayer has been an amazing tool for me. It's really about understanding that prayer is a conversation with a loving Father, a conversation that brings us closer to Him. Just take it one step at a time and you'll find your own rhythm. And remember, it's okay if your prayers don't always feel perfect. It's the heart that God looks at.